Alright, welcome back to DIY Willy. Today we're starting the reassembly of Biggs the Briggs. He's one of my favorite engines that I have. There's been some debate if he's a 3-horse, 3.5, or 5. I still believe he's a 5-horse. I have some stuff, I've read some stuff online that kind of confirms that, and if I get a chance, I'll put it here somewhere. And or I'll dig it out and I'll talk about it later in the video, but I don't have it with me at the moment. So we've got all the parts cleaned up, washed, triple washed, double washed, whatever you want to call it. We took a lot of measurements. You know, we've got Biggs original bore size, which by the way I believe does match a 5-horse. I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure there's people out there that know more than me. So I took some measurements on the cylinder. At top was 256.2, which pretty much matches that. It might not be the best way to go. We may need a different ring for the top, but these engines are really hard to find parts for nowadays, and I would have much rather have bored Biggs out for like a 10 thousandths over or 15 thousandths over, but finding the rings and all that is difficult. And then this is an aluminum bore engine, what they call it, cool bore, I think. So it would have to be chrome or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it was really hard to find those parts. Right about the middle section, it was 2.560, and I also at a different time got 2.556. So it's got to be within that range somewhere. I believe the cylinder is getting a little bit tapered as it gets to the bottom. At the very bottom, I got 2.559 and 2.558. So that's pretty reasonable. I mean, those numbers, they're not that far off. The piston measured out at 2.559. So we're going with it, man. We're gonna run Biggs's original rings. Everything's been cleaned up. The ring, I don't know, locations I'll call them, were wire brushed and cleaned out and got all the carbon out of them, all the whatever you want to call it out. So the piston is super clean now. The rod is all cleaned up. The rod journal didn't look that bad if you remember from the other videos. I did measure out the rod journal on the crank, and it's just a little hair over what it's supposed to be. Like I said before, we're gonna run with it. It's just Biggs, and it's a mini bike engine. I don't ride the mini bikes that much anyway, and we're not building a rocket engine, so we're gonna go with it. I've kind of marked out where I want my rings locations, similar to what we do with the Predator 212 engines and such. I've got all my measuring tools out here. Got my ring compressor. Like I said, everything was washed and double washed and triple washed, and man, Biggs is probably cleaner than he was when he came out of the factory. Everything's good to go. I've been using this manual for reference for all my dimensions and measurements and such, and we're going to use it for the torque specs as well. So everything is ready, cleaned up. Now the cylinder doesn't look as good as it did when I first did it, because I've been putting rings down in there and taking measurements, and everything. There's a little bit of scratches here and there, but you know what? I don't want to take any more out because I don't need the cylinder to be bigger. So like I said before, we're just gonna go with it. You know, we got the valves done already, so I say we go ahead and get this crank back in, then we'll stuff the piston back down the hole and start working on the valves. I don't see what we're waiting on. We need to get going here and get this thing started. All right, first things first, we're gonna stick this crankshaft in there so that we can put the rod down there. We don't want to get man, that stuff is kind of thick. Let's see. Hope I don't damage Biggs with this stuff. Nah, it's okay. It'll stay in place, that's for sure. We're gonna put a little bit here on this, I'm gonna go ahead and put some on the bushing. Now Briggs does bushings, doesn't have bearings. He's got bushings. So we got some in there on the bushing inside. Put a little bit more. Can't ever have not enough, right? Now this is the way I build the engines. I haven't had any huge failures yet. So, you know, everybody's got their own little techniques. The crank just sits down in the bushing like so. Slides in nice with the grease in there. Now the cylinder, let's go ahead and get these rings set up how I want them. And I'm going to grease oil them up quite a bit. If I ever get the oil out. Making a mess. I don't want to move the gaps. I want to keep all the gaps in the same spot. But I need these things oiled, man. Put some oil in here. I'm just going to use this. My table's clean. I cleaned this whole area up yesterday. Getting it ready just for this. There we go. Spikey's providing the background music for us. You all watch my videos, you know Spikey's involved in everything. Some people said, put him outside, put him somewhere. Nah, man, he's my buddy. He's part of this. So let's get some oil down in the cylinder. I read that it recommended to take, once you hone it, to take a Scotch-Brite and just not wipe it inside, but just kind of go in like this, remove the sharp edges off the hone. So that's what we did. There we go. Lots of oil there. Now we ready for a cylinder, our piston? Let's get this thing in there. Double check our ring gaps. Yeah. Oh, I gotta get this thing ready. Let's see here. Hope the ring gaps are in the right spot. Just making sure it's all flat. Hopefully this piston goes in easy. My hand's oily. Okay, we've got that ready. Now we'll take the rod cap off. There's the rod cap. Now I'm gonna put the journal at the bottom. Hopefully it'll all go really good. Now I'm putting some of this on the bearing or on the rod journal. I'm trying to keep it out of the rod hole as well. It can actually plug that hole. This stuff's pretty thick. You know what? I think the oil works better there. We got oil on it. Now, there's a mark on the piston. So I should have showed you that at the beginning. It's a little little line or a little indentation on the edge, that indentation goes to the magneto side. So we'll just stick it in there like so. Like so. And then we're gonna grab our handy mallet that we have over here standing by. And we're gonna send that piston down in the cylinder. Hopefully this works out well. Yeah, right in there. Look at that. Perfecto. Perfect. One shot. Now, where is it? Push it up a little bit. It went a little bit too far down. Push it up. And then we can bring our crank around. There we go. Get rid of some of these oily rags. My skins are getting too oily. Well, that went way better than I thought it would. I thought we were going to fight it a little bit more. I really did. Now we're in there and we're ready to put the rod cap on. Would like to wash my hands. Get kind of slippery. So I'm going to go ahead and lay Biggs over. And I'm going to try to find the best position for everything. I think that's it. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and put, there's a little bit of oil on the bottom down here. Just going to put it on the cap. Stick the cap on. Now I got a bolt. Again, there's a little bit of oil down here. I'm going to put some of the little bit of the 30 weight on the bolt, just like we do the other engines, and I'll get it started. Now we got the slinger. We got to make sure we're putting the slinger back in the correct position, or dipper, or whatever you want to call it. I call it slinger. Boy, Biggs could sure be a little bit bigger, don't you know? It's hard to get your hands in here. He was a good running engine. Really liked this engine. This was, like I said, my first Briggs and Stratton I ever had. I've had a lot of the Predators and those type of engines, but never the Briggs. But Biggs was the first, and we're going to get him all set up. I know it's not perfect. Like we talked about, the cylinder's not perfect. The rings measured out. I have that here. The top ring, I think it said, the book said if it was 35 thousandths, then it was too much and the ring needed to be replaced. Well, the top ring gap was 17 thousandths, the middle ring was 22, and the oil ring was 21. So I'm pretty sure the rings were fine. We're going with it anyway. We're going to send it. So now we just need to torque those down, and then we can put the cam in, and then we can start work on the valves. So the rod, the rod is torqued down to the crank. It was a 5/16 on that bolt, those two bolts, and I torqued them to about 110 foot-pound, or excuse me, 102 inch-pounds. The book called out 100. I went ahead and did it in a couple increments, you know, like 50, 70, then 110, or about 100, 110. So the rod is all torqued down. It's interesting that there's supposed to be like little tabs you bend over to hold the bolts from turning back out. Biggs doesn't have those tabs. It's really strange. He's got like a flanged bolt that goes on there. So yeah, that's that. We got that part done. So now we need to find the lifters. I've got the lifters over here in another container. We'll get those out and we'll go ahead and stick them in so we can put the cam. I wanted to show that we took the governor out of Biggs because it was all broken in pieces, if you remember the first episode of this. And I believe this was a 5/16 by 24 bolt that went through there. I tapped the hole and put that bolt in there with a little bit of, I only had blue Loctite. Put it in with blue Loctite to seal it up, so that should prevent any leaks there. So let me find those lifters. I've got all of Briggs' parts here, well, most of them, that we're gonna need, and the valves and everything. Here's the cam gear. We really don't need it on there yet, but we could put it on there. Now, cam gear's got like a tapered edge. This goes against the goes against the journal on the inside. Yeah, you know, right here against the counterweights. So, and there's a little pin that lines up with this slot that keeps the engine time. So we can put that on there like that. It's not really necessary right now, but it's good to do. Now I kind of have the valve packages all put together right here, and I don't remember which is which. I believe this was exhaust, right? Yeah, that's exhaust. Exhaust is smaller than the intake. So we'll put those back over there. So this would be the exhaust. These were all cleaned up and refreshed, ready to use again. We'll put some more of the assembly lube on here. That'll help hold it up in place so that they don't just drop out. Put that one in. And then we'll put the intake one in. Doesn't take much. A little bit of dirt there. We'll put the intake one in. Come on, Briggs. Need just a little bit more room in there. Alright, so there's the followers in, and we got the valves here. We're not going to mess with the valves yet. Oh, we might. I don't know. Maybe I'll put them back there in the box. And I'll just set them out of the way. So, we want the cam now. Here's the old cam that came out of Briggs. And we're going to put the new cam in, because I did find a new cam. Now this cam I liked better, not just because it's new, but because it's black. And to me that just looks better than that ugly, I don't even know what color you call that, but it looks better than that. Now this cam has definitely more pronounced lobes, and it's not as flat as this one. This one's all rounded off and flat, much like a cam would be. This is more squared off, so the durations will be different than this one. I don't know if this one would give it more duration when it was being used, but I think it's worn. It's just worn out. So we're gonna go with the new one and get it all lubricated up, cleaned up, and put in. Put the old one here. Now, I'm gonna put some assembly lube. You probably ask me, why are you using assembly lube and oil? Well, I don't know. I have both here. The assembly lube seems to stay on better. It's got graphite in it, you know. We'll use oil on the parts that are harder to put together, like the compression release. You know, right here, we'll get some oil in there so that's well oiled. We got some oil for the bearing area, and we got some oil this side. Now, I need to bring it around to top dead center with the timing marks lined up. So let's do that. Let's do that. put the cam down right there. Where's my timing mark? There it is. Let me bring it around. Right there. All it is a little dot. There's a, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little dot right there. And that's the only mark I have to go by. So, we're gonna get this done. I'm guessing that's time. Right there like that. I'm gonna go ahead and put the sump cover on, I think, and we should be good to go. I think I'm just gonna do it though temporarily. I'm not gonna put it on permanent yet. Right? Right. There's the new cam in there. And it's all timed to the best of my ability. Let's even check it. So if the engine's going down, oh, but we don't have the valves in. Let's see. Let's drop the valves in. Kind of need the valves to see this. That's the intake. This is the exhaust. I'm just going to put them in there momentarily. Put some oil on the valve so it doesn't damage the guides. They're lubricated while they're going in and out. Actually, that doesn't look like the right one. There we go. This one over here. A little bit of oil. Now I had new valves, but we just went ahead and used the old ones. They were fine. Okay, so what we were going to do is we were going to check time. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to rotate it. The piston's coming down on the fire stroke right now. It's coming up on the exhaust stroke. See, the exhaust valve is open. There's top dead center. Exhaust closed. The exhaust valve is closed. Coming down on the intake. There's the intake valve opening. Going down, comes up on compression, closes the intake, compresses, boom, fires, exhaust valve opens, comes back up to top dead center. There we go. Process starts over again. So we do have the timing correct with the new cam, and everything just looks fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and stick the sump cover on just temporarily, and I need to put a little bit of assembly lube in there. This way the cam and the crank just stay lined up together while we're doing some rotating and while we do some rotating for the valves. Where'd the lid of that stuff go? I lost it. Did I drop it? I didn't drop it. I'll find it. There it is. Put the lid on there. Now, like I said, I'm just putting this on temporarily. There we go. That's just to hold the alignment of the cam and the crank, so that as we're turning it, nothing bad's happening. It's starting to turn really nice. Valves, dum dum dum. I've never put these valves in. All right, so I got the valves done. I read into it a little bit further, and I was supposed to bring the piston to top dead center and then take it down a 1/4 inch. So that's what I did, and I measured, and now I've got the valves ground to I believe it was 7 thousandths on the exhaust, which can be 7 to 9 thousandths max and I've got 6 thousandths on the intake, which should be between 5 and 7. So we're good on the valves now. Now we can go ahead and put the springs in. Glad I remembered to do that before I got too far ahead of myself. So we should be ready now with the springs. Man, we got our notch towards us, and we'll just go ahead and pull the valve out a little bit so we can set the spring in there. Let's see how well this works, because I haven't had much luck with this lately. And I missed. Let me see if I can fix it. Let me see if I can fix it. Almost had it. I told you I haven't had much luck with that. Try it again. Second time's charm, right, Spike? Maybe I didn't have it compressed enough. Let's compress it all the way down. Let's give that a shot. Let's try that. What do you think about that? That works. No, it didn't. What the heck? So this is what I'm trying to do. See that right there? Now the valve is supposed to come in. This is at an angle. Slip in like that. Go like this. And then it should lock in there like that. And that's what I'm having trouble with. So I'm going to continue on doing this until I get it in there. Got it. Only took me 4 tries. But there the valves are. They're in. Whew. I kind of figured it out, how to do it, how to work that tool, what its little secret was. But yeah, I got it finally. Here we go, Biggs. Now I need to wash my hands. I got so much oil all over my hands. Let's see what we got here. Down, compression, exhaust, intake, compression, fire, exhaust. Looking good. Well, that was a good amount of work, and very little battle scars. We got it pretty much a long block completely assembled. Actually, I think a Briggs is a little more than a long block, because it's got the valves and everything, the cam and all that in it. The actual head is just, you know, the top, the cap. But yeah, we got it together. Everything seems to be working fine. This is all I can do today. I'll come back and I'll go ahead and put the head on it, and then the valve cover, and then we can assemble put the gasket on the sump cover, and torque down the bolts, and then wash it up again, get it ready for paint. This will actually be probably a couple days, but to you it'll be only moments. So that's what I'm gonna do today. This is all I can do today, rather. And well, I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, it's about a week later, I guess, from when I was filming the first part of this video. I've got Biggs painted now, and I don't like the paint. It's that VHT or something paint, and it's really not resistant to chemicals and such. And I haven't had much luck with it in the past. I liked Duplicolor better, but I couldn't find Duplicolor in my area, so I went with this VHT paint. I think that's what it's called. And well, I don't like it, but we put it on there, and now we're gonna go ahead and put down the sump cover and get the valve cover, or the head on one last time, get everything torqued down, and yeah, start wrapping this thing up. So let's take a look at that. So here's the engine. It's all painted up. I've got everything wiped out again inside. I've tried to oil everything up again, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the sump cover. I'm gonna go ahead and put the sump cover back on, I got this ultra gray gasket, high torque, high vibration and application, ideal for import, newer vehicles, sensor safe, blah 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 blah. This is what I had when I did the Nissan. I had something like this one, something similar. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this. It should work fine to seal up around the sump cover. You can see the paint is not sticking very well. I had to clean up the sump cover again, and that paint is garbage. I haven't had much luck with it. I knew better than to use it, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it for now. Biggs will probably get all scratched up, and I'll have to repaint it again, and hopefully I can find the right paint I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some of this on there, get the gasket on there, do the same here, a little bit over on this side, kind of let it set up for a little bit, and then go ahead and torque it down. I'm just putting a thin little layer on here, especially up around the top. It doesn't need much. It'll be fine. It's the bottom I'm more concerned about. And then we can just kind of spread it out kind of evenly across. Like I said, it's the bottom I'm more concerned about. Biggs always had a little bit of a leak, so I think that'll be fine. So I did it too much. It makes it hard to take off. Looking good. We'll give that a few minutes to kind of set up, get tacky, and then we'll go ahead and put it on. All right, it's been a few minutes now. We're gonna go ahead and set the cover on. Make sure it's clean inside. We got no debris. Everything looks good. I'm gonna get rid of that extra silicone. Everything looks good inside. Do our best to keep it all perfectly clean. Here we go. I'm gonna use my little mallet here. Give it a couple love taps. We love you, Biggs. I've got the regular hardware here. I did take and wire brush it, clean it up. We'll go ahead and stick those in all around. Now there's two that don't have washers on them, and those two I'm going to use on the top. Why they don't have washers, I don't know, but they don't have washers. And we have Spike. Why so loud, buddy? We have, where is it? There it is. We have our little piece here that holds the oil dipstick, and it goes like this. That's interesting. It goes on the top two holes. Spike, buddy, you're getting loud. Now, what was the socket size for that? I think that was the 5/16. I'm just going to tighten these up by hand. It was actually 3/8 size. I thought it was 5/16. Then it gets torqued to 85 inch-pounds. Not that much. Pretty easy. I'm just kind of going in a cross pattern. Okay, now I'll set it up, get my torque wrench out, and we're going for 85 inch-pounds. £85 Here we go. Let's try 40 first. See where we get. Let's do 40. Spike, please, buddy. Let's try 40 first and see where we get. Well, we're already at 40 inch-pounds just by hand. Well, let's go ahead and go up to 80 inch-pounds. There's 80. There's 80. That was pretty simple. I'm going to take it to 85. Doesn't say to do that in the book. I just want to do that. There we go. I'm good with that. I think that'll work. I think that'll work. I do. Always take the tension off your torque wrench. Never leave it under tension. Okay. Now that the sump cover's on, hey, that paint is just no good. I do not like that paint. But we'll see. Now, we don't have our oil plugs in yet, so Biggs is going to be spitting oil out. I guess I better put those in. Where do I have those plugs at? I think they're over here. Alright, so there's the oil plugs in. The sump cover's on. The support for the oil dipstick is in there. And yeah, it looks really good. So now we need to clean the cylinder head, the cylinder and piston area one last time. I'm going to take it down and I'm going to fill it with oil. Run the oil around. I'm going to get a clean rag. And I'm going to bring the piston back up. Now as we're doing this, the idea is to get anything from the inside out. One last time. Take it down again. Bring it back up. I think that looks really good. Around the valves. Make sure we're getting any debris in there out. Okay, now we got our head gasket here. Ready to go on. We've got our head over here. Standing by. And it's all clean inside. Go ahead and place it down on top. Now we got the original bolts here ready to go. I'm just going to line them all up and start them. The first two that we have started will help hold the gasket in place, and so it won't move around on us. Now we got this top cover that goes on these three over here. And this was the bolt that had the extra threads on it. I just cut them off. It'll probably rust there later. But for right now, it's going to work perfectly right there. And then, of course, the other two going in here. Just like that. Now, I want to run them down. I'd like to use one of the tools to run them down and then torque them. So, yeah, let's do that. I believe it's half. Is this half right here? Yeah, that's half. So I'm just going to run them down with this one, not torque them. Just kind of run them down in a crisscross pattern. There is, oof, I let that one a little far. There is actually a sequence in the book, but honestly, like that. Now, I'll go ahead and get the torque wrench out again, and we'll torque these to spec. So we have this all ready to go. I don't remember what the torque was. Let me look it up real fast. I kind of put bookmarks everywhere for the torque specifications. Let's see, piston rod reject. Where is the head? Ah, the head. Crankcase cover, standard bore diameter, bearing, reject. The head is here somewhere. Piston sizes, ring gap. Come on now. I had all my pages saved. Valves. Here we go. And there's the torque sequence right there. I did it pretty close to what it is. What's the value? What do we set it to? Usually at the end of cylinder head torque for the 9,000, 140 inch-pounds. Okay. I'm not sure I can do 140 inch-pounds. Oh yeah, I can. I go to 150 inch-pounds. Nice. Okay, so we're not going to jump just to 140 right away. I think I'm going to go right in the middle at 170. Yeah, 170. Now, what was that torque specification, that diagram? What was that? There we go. It is 1, 2, okay. 1. Okay. The head is on. Torqued. Whew. Man. That was a lot of work. You can see I already have a different valve cover on. It doesn't have the PCV valve system in there. It's just got an out. It goes on with just some with a gasket and some Allen head screws. Nah, can't talk. Some Allen head screws. This will come off to the catch can. I'll put a PVC valve or PCV valve on it. There. I'm gonna check in here for some torque for these and get those torqued down to correct specification. But yeah, Briggs is looking good. Whew, man. I actually should have washed this tube better. There's a little bit of that glass bead on it. That was kind of dangerous to have around that open cylinder, man. I would have got some of that in there. But there we go. for the most part, that's Biggs. Set up and ready to go. All right, back to work here on Biggs the Briggs. I've already put lapping compound on there, and I've lapped the flywheel in. You guys know how we do that. You know, I hold the crankshaft, and we go like this several times. We might flip it around and do that so that we get that compound and these mating surfaces joined. So we've done that. We're going to clean it up now and go ahead and install the flywheel permanently. So we didn't do this last time we worked on Biggs. We did not lap the flywheel, and it worked. I mean, it worked fine. Briggs isn't turning an enormous amount of RPM, you know, but it's always a good idea that these mating surfaces are lapped in, I guess. So we did it. We got it done. Now it's just all part of the cleanup. Let me get some carb cleaner out. We'll get the remaining parts of this grinding compound out of here and get everything put back together. All right, so I've got Biggs all cleaned up now. I need the crankshaft key. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. I got all the compound out. I actually washed the flywheel. The engine I just used brake clean. And well, we got it all cleaned up because we still had some of that glass bead in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick the flywheel on. We're gonna line up that key. And send her home. I'm just going to tap it in gently. To me, it's just easier. Now, there's different kinds of keys. You can use timing keys, which move stuff around the timing. And that way you can adjust the timing, whether it's advanced or retarded. But we're going to just leave it stock right now. The nut for this is a 15/16 nut. I think I'm going to use my 24mm socket. It's a little deeper for it, but we'll get it started. And you know me, I always just run it on with the impact. I haven't had any problems yet. I'm going to hold the crank and let it rip. Just like that. That seemed to be about the right torque. I can put the torque in the description when we put the video on for anybody that doesn't want to do it like that. We're at a good point now that we can put the coil, but we want to get the magnets away at the moment so we can set the coil. And I got the coil up here in a box somewhere up here in a box. What did I do with the coil? Right here. Another one that's got quite a bit of glass bleed all over it. We'll just kind of clean it up a little bit. Wipe some of that stuff off. This glass bead came from when I was trying just different ways to media blast the block. That's all. And well, it got messy. So the coil goes on. We're gonna set it just like this right now. You want to make sure that the wire, the kill wire, is on the back side, and the actual spark plug wire is on the front. And then these screws here are quarter inch, we'll just go ahead and stick them in. Then once we stick them in, we're going to set the shim at 30 thousandths, and then we'll put the magnet on it to hold the coil at the right spot. Now there are Briggs and Stratton engines that have a vane right here that help direct the air. I have that vane. Where is it? Where is it? Let's see, it's right here. I have that vane. Part number 55055, guide air. This would work for this engine. However, since this was such a smaller block that we were talking about, you know, the 3 horse, this is a 5 horse, and it sticks up way top of the cover that goes on. So I'm not going to use it. It never really overheated in the past when I was riding it, but I may have to fabricate my own and install my own that I make, just to help as the flywheel's turning. You know, it's pulling the air, and it'll pull air up and over the cylinder this way. The way it is now is going to fill inside the cover and then blow out, and it works. You know, it works, so I'm not that concerned about it. But we'll have it set up. Let me get my 30 thousandths business card in here. I'll pull this thing back to the magnet right there, and we'll tighten these up. There's probably a torque specification for these as well, but yeah, it'll just be the DIY Willy YouTube torque specification. Click, 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 click. Check it out one more time, and there we go. We'll go ahead and get that out of there. Now our magneto is set up, and that spark plug is hot. Hot, hot, hot. It will now go bang. So we just have the wire set on like this. There we go. Now we talked briefly about my new cover, my new valve cover. It's basically just an aluminum flat bar that's tapped for the barb fittings. The holes are it's got the what is it? 5/32 Allen wrench type bolts that go in there, and it's tight. I don't know if this is gonna leak. I don't suspect it will, but yeah, it's in there. I've got this guard on and tight. That's also 1/4 inch. Nice and tight. So I think we're ready for the front, for the blower cover. I'm really proud of this blower cover that I got. If you remember, it was kind of a gray color. I'll put a picture here somewhere and of it, and well, it just wasn't that attractive. It worked great for Biggs, and it was the original color for Biggs, but we're gonna go with the DIY Willy red and black, just like we did back here. So let me get that blower cover, and we'll get ready to put it on. All right, you ready? Ready? This looks really good. I took the pull start off of it and cleaned it up, and then re-riveted it on, and it looks really nice. Let's check it out. Ta-da! What do you think, huh? It looks really good. Better than the silver that it was. Now I know I said I was gonna cover these holes just to stop air from getting out. Oh well, I didn't do it. I didn't want to mess it up. It doesn't look that bad, and it works. So now I do need to put a cover on this side, and this has got to be a removable cover. Like this one, it's got to be over here, but it's removable. And I have some bolts here that I can use to secure it. And when I do that, maybe I'll make one that fits inside as part of that and just block those holes, but it'll be removable. We'll have to see once we get going. But let's see Biggs with his new cover on. Would you look at that? Look at that. I really like that. I really like that a lot. Biggs, you're looking good, buddy. Looking good. I don't think I've cleaned these 3 bolts that hold this cover on, so I'm gonna have to do that right now. And there'll be nothing left to do really but put the carburetor on. I gotta make an exhaust still, but we can go ahead and put the carburetor on, and then Biggs will be ready to start up and test once I have an exhaust. We'll figure that all out right now. So I know this build is taking several days to get it done. It's probably been a week, well, more than a week really, since I started it. So let me get these 3 bolts cleaned up. We'll get them installed, and then we'll install the carburetor again. And I don't know if we'll make it to put any exhaust on it, and maybe we'll just stick the old tube we have. But I ground the threads out inside. It may not work. We may have to make a flange and make our own exhaust, but we'll do something. We'll figure it out. We want to get it started. All right, here we go. Here's Biggs, fully reassembled. And I know I didn't show everything, but I know this video is getting pretty long. So pull start's on, seems to have good compression. Carburetor's on. I need to make a manifold for or a flange rather, for the exhaust, so we can have something. I got a couple exhaust pieces back here that I could maybe try to work with. I don't know what we could do, but that's what we do here at DIY Willy, is we fabricate things too, you know. So I don't care for the black paint that was used. I think I said it before. It doesn't hold up well. It's already starting to chip in places. I much prefer the Duplicolor, or like this is, I think is what is this? The other rattle can brand. I can't remember at the moment, but yeah, I don't really care for the black paint, but it's here, and Biggs is going to use it, going to run with it. And if it gets really bad, I'll take Biggs apart again and I'll clean them all up and I'll remove all that paint. I think I can remove it with paint stripper. So he needs some oil. He needs an exhaust, and to hook up the catch can and the gas and some kind of throttle, and he'll be ready to start. You know, he looks really good. I think he looks great. I was looking for my Briggs sticker I bought. I can't find it. I brought a Briggs 5-horse sticker and it's missing in action. But I put the DIY Willy sticker back on, and this is what Biggs had originally anyway from me. So I'll see if I can find maybe a 5-horse sticker right here, or a Briggs sticker to go right here. I think it looks fantastic. I really like it. It's going to perform much better. You know, Biggs needed this work done. Seems to have some good compression. We'll check that again later, but we want to do it after we run it a little bit, get the rings seated in, and get the oil moving around. Maybe change the oil, get rid of the assembly lube in there, and just have it ready to go. But for the most part, it's done. There we go, Biggs. Ta-da! Anyway, he looks great. And well, thanks for watching. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and always come back to DIY Willy for your Briggs and Stratton builds, your Predator builds, your your mini bikes, whatever you want to come here for. I've got videos on the trucks, soon to be the Samurai again. Also, I mentioned the Volkswagen. We're going to be back on that, and of course we're working on the Baja Razor. So yeah, thanks for stopping by and checking out the videos. And with Briggs here, we'll see you next time. Bye.